Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Oh, I love it. Everybody responded. Yay. So this afternoon, we are going to go over some things that you as a rec manager and a PC need to know or be doing when it comes to Trac and some changes that are on the forefront. So as you can see, this is our agenda up here. We will be going over the PDP/service desk, some do's and don'ts in Trac. We have a new updated refund form, statements and invoices, and petty cash counts. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. So the PDP, as we know it and the way it lives, is a document that you are filling out and you're attaching to a service desk ticket, okay? We are now going to change that, hopefully by the start of next month, and it will be a service desk ticket, okay? So instead of you having an external form that you're having to download and attach, it will actually live in the service desk, on a service desk ticket. And what that will look like is, so when you go to Service Desk and you click on Trac 3.1 support, and then you would select Live, you would select Management, and then from here where it says Activity, you would click your activity. From there you will get additional drop downs. Either it's a new program or you're updating an existing program. Okay, so you're going to constantly have drop downs throughout. So all of the information that you have that's on that form, like the dates, the times, the genders, all of that will now be drop downs. So you will not have that form that you had to fill out currently. Okay, after you complete that ticket, it will then go to your AD for approval, because what it was supposed to happen is that that form was supposed to be approved before you actually submitted it. So now you will submit it, it will go to your AD for approval, and then after that, then it will come to us to do. So what that does is, now that AD's approved it, so if there's any issue with revenue accounts or something doesn't look right, that can get approved before it comes to us. Because as you know, when you submit those PDPs, there's some back and forth and back and around the corners that we end up doing before we actually start working on the program, okay? So this is just an idea of what it's going to look like. So you will have activity permissions, and then you would select the permissions for that, the location, the activity name, the max count, the min count. All of those are going to be drop downs. So you're just going to be clicking your little life away. There are some spaces where you will actually have to type in some information. It just depends on what that drop down is. Okay, so IT is currently working on that for us. Hopefully they'll have it ready to go for October 1st. If not, we will let you know when we start that. So all programs, new and existing, will require a PDP to be submitted. Now I'm preaching to the choir because everybody in here does that. The people that I need to hear this, they're not in here. But the reason why we have to have a PDP for new and existing programs is because we're finding that the numbering scheme is incorrect. We've got fall activities with a number 1, which is a spring activity, and it shouldn't. We've got descriptions that are repetitive. Location is 5 or 6 times in the description. It's in the title of the program. Ages are all over the place. You have an age in the title of the program. You've got a different age in the description, and then you've got a different age for the registration part. So there's no consistency. And I know a lot of you have heard me preach over and over about we can't win gold medals if we're inconsistent. So we've won one. In order to win another one, we got to be consistent. If I go in the software and I'm trying to find a program because somebody's asked me to run a report, I'm going based on where I think it should be because that's where it logically makes sense, and it's not there. So this is the reason. It's not that we want to have control, because I would love for you guys to do this. But in order to have that consistency, we've got to have a little bit of control. So what types of programs and events need to have PDPs submitted? New and existing programs. If you have a program that runs from January to December, when you submit that first PDP for January, submit it for the rest of the months. You don't have to wait until Devonna sends out that email that says, hey, you can now submit your programming. So if you've got a Zumba, or you've got a karate, or Taekwondo, or dance, when you submit the first one for that first month, do it for the remaining months, for the remaining sections. That way you are not, one, behind the 8 ball, 2, having to remember, oh wait, did I do this? That way we can go ahead and update it all at once. Okay? Brand new programs. So if you have something that you have never done at Brick, if it is learning how to make shoelaces, the whole weaving process behind making shoelaces, this is something that you've never done at Brick, and you think it's a great idea. Great. Fantastic. We need to have a discussion about that program before you actually put it on. And what that looks like is, hey, I want to do this program on how to make shoelaces, but this is what I need from RecTrac. It may not have to be an activity. It could be a service item. It could be a form. It could be a ticket. There are a variety of things that it could be. So just because we have RecTrac doesn't mean it has to be an activity. It might end up being a job form that communications uses. The scholarship application, let me say that. So the scholarship application, the way it lives, it's a form. Okay, so we can actually create a form for your free programs. If you want them to, quote unquote, buy the thing on WebTrack, it could be a service item, it could be a ticket. There are a lot of different things it can be. So we need to have that discussion beforehand so we know that, hey, this is what this person needs, because a lot of you need different information when it comes to your reporting. There's demographic information you need. You may need to collect email addresses. You may be concerned with ages. So let's have that discussion before you just automatically go ahead and create that PDP for that brand new program for making shoelaces that we've never done before. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So will this service desk ticket communicate with communication?
Yes, because it has new workflow. So after you submit it, AD approves it, it comes to us, it gets worked on, then it goes back to you for final approval. Once you approve it, then it goes to communications to do whatever marketing, whatever print requests, all of that stuff that's on those additional pages that we don't need, then they get that part. Once they finish it, then it will come back to you, and it will live with you until your program is actually done and you can do all of that evaluation stuff that you currently have on those other pages. I know, we're trying to be fancy. Eventually, we'll get there. The next thing is all programs will follow what's called web registration event. So right now in the program guide, there are tons of programs. All of those programs are not available. And when I say not available, they're not even visible on WebTrack. Okay? So what we're going for is if that program is in the playbook, it will be in RecTrac, but it can have a later registration date. So we are now in September. We can actually have Holiday Camp for December visible on WebTrack, but have a registration date later. Okay? What that does is they're seeing the program guide. We're getting emails saying, hey, I'm trying to register for this because it says register on WebTrack, and they can't see it because it's not there. But if they see it and they hover over the cart, the little cart icon that's in the front of the object, it'll tell them, hey, this thing has a registration date of this. That way they see it, and then now they know that, hey, I can go back to it, I can save it to my wish list, and I can go back to it and register when that time comes. Okay? Yes, ma'am?
But they can only register during that day, they can't register early.
No, it's not gonna, it's just visible. Visible means I can see it. I can't do anything with it. I can take a screenshot, I can share it with my friends, I can save it to my wish list, but it will not let me register until that registration date. Example, look, so when they click on it, it's gonna say online registration begins October 1st. It's the same thing we use for summer camp. So when we put summer camps on WebTrack and they're visible, when they go hover over it, it doesn't let them do anything until that date comes. Okay? Yes, sir.
You also set a time with that, or is it just a date?
It's date and time. And and Devonna just said she normally sets them for 8 a.m. on that day. Okay? All right.